If you missed Wednesday evening's Facebook Live on my business page, Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe, you do want to go back and look at that, or it will be posted to, I have to think, what day is it being posted to my blog? It's all ready to go. I can't remember if it's Saturday or Monday. Can't remember off the top of my head. But I showed you how to make 3 different sizes of storage boxes. And my purpose for making them was to store the 3 different sizes of embossing folders and have them right here handy on my shelf. That middle size also makes a great one to gift several of your handmade cards. You can tie a bow around it, put a tag on, maybe put it in a cello bag wrapped with a bow. That would be a nice gift. And it can also be used to hold our packages of embellishments. So fun project. I've gotten wonderful reviews on that. You can find that on my business page, Facebook business page, or watch for it to be posted on my blog. Now for today, I think I showed this Monday, maybe? Monday's Facebook Live. I was at a craft weekend last week with some friends, and my friend and team member, Tracy Darling, made this cute, adorable backpack. And I'm trying to think, what did she have in it? She had little Andes mints in the little pocket. And then in here, she had a chapstick and Post-it notes. So just a cute little gift. And when I saw this, she told me that she found a tutorial from Poodles. So I went through that, changed a little bit, and then made my own. And as soon as I decided I was making one of these, I knew exactly what I was going to use it for. And I can tell you this because Avery is not watching, I'm sure. I'm sure an 18-year-old has something better to do than watch Aunt Mary's Facebook Live. But Avery, my niece, is graduating from high school next month. And I was talking to my daughter Emily about what I can give her as a graduation gift. And Emily said, "Mom, what do college students need? They need gift cards." So I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll get her a little assortment of various gift cards that she can use in her first year at Ohio State. We are Buckeyes. So I made this darling backpack in real red, and then I have basic gray designer series paper. Now Tracy used Velcro to keep the flap of the backpack closed and the little pocket in front closed. I ordered tiny little magnets from Amazon. They're due to arrive today. I just ran upstairs to check my front porch. They're not here yet, but I didn't want to put anything else on there knowing that they will be here. Those magnets will be here sometime today, but we'll talk about how to put that on. So let's go ahead and make one of these darling backpacks. You can use it for Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduations, perhaps a retirement, somebody moving away. Young adults would love this. School-age kids would love it. I'm sure you can think of many, many reasons to use it. You can include gift cards in there, cash, little trinkets, all kinds of treats, mints, even maybe like some school supply type things like Post-it notes and paper clips, things like that. So lots of fun uses for this. I'm sure you can come up with a lot of uses for it yourself and various things to include. So I'm going to flip my camera around and we will get started making one of these together. I think you're really going to like it. If you would take a moment to share this video, I would appreciate it very much. And remember to comment throughout. I will be giving away a pack of embellishments, the frosted and clear epoxy droplets. Now, oftentimes when I'm doing cutting and scoring with you, I'm using my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer with its scoring blade as well. And I decided I was going to use my Score It tool. So this is something I use almost every day, and I especially use it when I'm preparing classes and making takes for events, because I just can score so fast on this. So, and we still sell it. I believe it's $30. It does come with a tool to use, a scoring tool. I lost my original one, but I had this old one, so I just put some Velcro on it so I can keep it right with my score tool. So you're going to start, we're going to actually use two pieces of cardstock, one for the backpack and one for the pocket on the front of the backpack. So we're going to start by making the backpack itself. And you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 8 inches by 11 inches. And on the long side, you're going to score that at 1.5 inches, 5 1/4 inches, 6 3/4 inches, and 10 1/2 inches. You're then going to turn it so the short side is at the top. Now you want to score at 2 inches and at 6 1/2. Turn it back with the long side at the top, and the top portion is a little bit wider, deeper than the bottom portion. You want the larger portion at the top, okay? Now we're going to make two partial score lines. We're going to score at 3/4 inch and 6 inches, but I only want to go down to the 5-inch mark. So I'm going to put my straight edge right here. And I'm going to score at 3/4 inch until I get to 5 inches right there. Then I'm going to score at 6 inches down to 5 inches. And that's really easy because I put my straight edge there to mark the 5 inches. Next, I'm going to set this aside. Once again, I'm going to use my straight edge, and from the two partial score lines, I'm going to make a triangle. So from the bottom of that partial score line to the bottom right corner, those intersecting score lines down at the bottom. And then the other side. If your scoring tool has a bigger and a smaller end, I typically use the smaller end when I'm scoring cardstock, and I use the larger ball when I'm scoring designer series paper. Now, if you're scoring with our paper trimmer, you don't need to worry about that. That scoring tool on that works very well for both the cardstock and the DSP. All right, so now is where we're going to do some cutting. Oftentimes people want to burnish all of their score lines and folds first. Because of the amount of cutting we're doing, I like to cut first. I think you just get a little bit cleaner cut if you cut first and then fold later, because if you cut where you've already folded, sometimes you get some jagged edges. So now we want to, and I should mark this because it can be tricky. So again, we have that wider part, that thicker part at the top, and the narrower part at the bottom. And this is actually the bottom right here. We're going to get rid of this piece and this piece. We're going to keep this because this is going to be the back of the box, and that flap will fold over the front, but we're going to get rid of all of this. Okay. So I'm going to start on that 1/2 inch side. Cut, it really will only matter on that one that you can see on the bottom. And then I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to make a straight cut there. And then you can use your scissors and cut all the way down, or to get a nice straight cut, I'm going to just cut it on that same 2-inch score line that I made up until that one small cut I made. And that slides out. So this is what I have now. On these 2 square flaps, go ahead and cut those sides at a small angle, again, just to make it easier to put together. Just the 2 small flaps, the square ones. Now, before I burnish all my folds, I'm going to remember this is the flap that comes over the front of the backpack, and I want to round those 2, whoops, didn't have that in there correctly. I want to round those 2 corners with my, what is this called? Trio punch? Whoops, missed it again. Obviously I don't have that in there correctly. There, that's better. And now definitely use your bone folder to burnish all these straight lines. Don't worry about that partial line or the angled score lines, but do all of the others. Hi to everyone who has jumped on. Amy, Sylvia, Julie, I think I saw Joyce Letterby on there. Nice to have you. Now I'm ready to put this together. And actually, before I start gluing my box, I'm going to put my Designer Series paper on. This measures 3.5 inches by 1 3/4. And I want to round 2 of those corners. And I can put this on with some multi-purpose glue. Now to put the box or the backpack together and the pocket that will go on the front of the backpack, you'll need a really strong adhesive. So I'm going to suggest tear and tape, the Stampin' Seal Plus, and if you don't have one of those, use the multi-purpose glue. That works very well too. It just has a little more drying time that you need to figure in. So for this part, I'm going to put some of this adhesive. I guess I didn't need quite that much. And then I have to think, this is going to be the front. So here, you know what, let's put this together first because I think it's easier this way. It's like this. Fold that little flap down and then you'll be able to press the opposite side right to it. Okay. So now you can see how it's coming together. So for the bottom, you're going to fold in those 2 small flaps on the side, the back flap, and then this is the front. So I'm going to put adhesive on the back of that. And just make sure you square everything up Maybe put your hand inside too to make sure that everything is pressed down to that adhesive. Now here is where you can see we did not burnish those partial score lines or the angled score lines, but you can just kind of push them in with your finger, just like that, and you can see how this will close. Alrighty. Now, before we put the straps on our backpack, we're going to make the pocket for this. And I'm going to use a piece of cardstock that measures 8 inches by 4 inches. Once again, I'm using my score it tool. And this time I'm going to score with the long side at the top. I'm going to score at the 1/2 inch mark, the 3 3/4 mark, 4 1/4, and 7 1/2. Then I'm going to turn it and score at 1/2 inch, 2 1/2, and then the 3 inch. So very similar to the others, but obviously not the same since it's smaller dimensions. And there's no partial scores or angular scores on this. Everything will be right angles. On this one, before we continue, make sure that the top, the wider piece going across is at the top and that smaller piece going across is at the bottom, just like the other one. And we are going to cut away, let me think here. We're going to cut away this, 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 and this, but we do want to cut these lines. Now, I normally would not be marking these with pencil, but I just want you to see the part that we're getting rid of and the parts that we're cutting, so that we will be using the square pieces. So, you know what, I have to think about this a second. Okay, so I'm going to cut this away, and then I'm going to cut straight to that second score line. Right here, I'm going to go down to the second score line. Same thing here. And same thing here. Then I want to cut away these little rectangles right here. And give me a second, I have to think. Oh, here, no, we are cutting all of this away. I will create some templates and add them to the instructions when I post this to my blog next week. And if you're really eager to make a backpack before then, you simply can follow along with the video. Go ahead and angle those small flaps. Just makes it easier to fold. At the bottom, we're going to cut up, 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 and then I have to think about this a second. This I want to cut away square and maybe angle that. No, we're not going to angle that. It'll be fine. Angle these two other little squares just like this, and that's what we have now. Just like the last one, we're going to add some adhesive on that small flap. Oops, I should have burnished the ends with my bone folder, but I'll do this first. Just do it quickly with my fingers. Now, if you see that you have some pencil marks, if that helps you to add the pencil marks, go ahead and do it, but then erase the pencil lines just to make it look neater. Before I put it together, I'm going to round these two corners of the flap, just like I did for the flap of the backpack. I love this trio punch, and this is the part of it that I use the most, so I'm glad that this is hanging around for another catalog season. Now I'm ready to put this together, just like that. I'm matching up those small score lines and edges. Okay, so you can see how my front pocket is coming together, and it will fold over like that. This will be the front. So I've got the back facing me, push down the small flaps, then the back flap, and this is where you're going to add some adhesive. Whoops, this one's a little bit wide there. If that happens and your adhesive is going over the edge, just take your finger and roll it back onto itself. No problem. Obviously on this little pocket, the tear and tape might be a better choice. It just might fit, or it will fit a little bit better than the Seal Plus. Maybe stick your fingers in the pocket and push down on that bottom. And there's your front pocket. Before I add it to my backpack, I am going to put a front flap on. This measures 3/4 inch by 3 inches. And again, oops, this one's a little harder to feel in there because you just want to make sure that's along the edge. A little better. Okay. Round this out just a little bit. See if I can make it work again. I am a perfectionist when it comes to those small details. Yeah, I messed that up a little bit. Okay, not too bad. And I'm going to add this to my flap. Well, then I just, whoops, I just pulled that apart. Maybe it's ready for a new one. No, it's not. I don't know what I did. So let me pull my other one out. Down just a little bit. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, this could be good for teacher appreciation gift too. Make a little backpack and stick gift cards, treats in there, that kind of thing. Even little school supplies could be a nice, fun back to school gift. So now I want to put my pocket on the front here. And for this, I am going to use the tear and tape. And just to make sure it holds super securely, I'm putting 3 strips of the tear and tape on. I'm gonna stick my fingers inside so that I can press this down nicely. And then I will use the piercing tool from my Take Your Pick tool to pull up the backings. Again, if your adhesive is extending a little bit beyond the edge, just roll it back on itself. So I've got my closed box. Now to see exactly where I want this, make sure it's squared up nicely. I actually want to hold the flap of my backpack closed because this just gives me a better idea of where I want to place this pocket. I'm not going to go quite all the way to the bottom of the backpack. You can if you want, but I want it to be centered between the bottom of the backpack flap and the bottom of the backpack itself. So just kind of put it lightly into place. Make sure it's where you want it. And then once again, stick one hand inside the backpack and one hand in the pocket to make sure we've secured that very well. Now this is where I would put my little magnets on. Since I don't have those yet, because Amazon hasn't been to my house yet today, they are coming today, just not here yet. You never know when they're coming. Sometimes it's early in the morning, could be mid-afternoon, could be 9 o'clock at night, but I am not complaining because they always get my stuff here. But I'm going to give you a little tip about this. Because those tiny little, you know which magnets I'm talking about, those tiny little round refrigerator magnets, because they are so strong, if you put one here and one here, you might tear the paper pulling them off. So I learned this tip from Sam Donaldson. She uses a glue dot, puts her magnet down, then she puts and uses a glue dot and puts the other magnet down. And what she does is, I should say it this way, use a glue dot, put the magnet down, put another magnet right on top of it, let the two snap together, put a glue dot on the top of that second magnet, so you've got two magnets stacked, and then you just press the flap of the pocket over and then slowly pull the magnets apart, and you'll have one on the flap and one on the pocket. But then, and I thought this was genius because those magnets are really strong, she punched 1/2-inch circles, used a glue dot, and put one on the top of each of those magnets. That reduces some of the strength of the magnet because now they have these two layers of cardstock between. And then she would do the same thing here. Use a glue dot, stick down that little magnet, stack a second magnet on top, put a glue dot on top of that, press the flap down, and honestly, I was saying here and here, but it would be probably more down here rather than the top part. You want the magnet more down here in this area. And then, because of the size of the flap, and then a glue dot on the second magnet, press the flap down, gently pull it apart, and you'll have a magnet on the flap and the backpack front. And then you would use glue dots to place 1/2-inch cardstock circles there, again, to reduce some of the strength between the two magnets. And then these will each open nicely and easily. They won't be so strong that that you would be ripping the cardstock or the paper, especially you don't want that to happen after you put all that time and effort into it. Now there's one thing missing yet from our backpack. Well, actually two things. All backpacks have some kind of closure. So I'm using the matte black dots, the large ones, two of the large ones, and making this my closure. I'll place another one right there. Pretty well lined up. I have that. Now another great embellishment, and we have lots. It can be, you know, choose something that you think goes well with the color and pattern and purpose of your backpack. But another one that I thought would be really good for this is the clear and frosted epoxy dots. Look at those. Wouldn't that be great? but these are retiring, so I probably won't be using them in many more demonstrations. So I thought I'm going to use something that I know is going to stay current, and instead I will give these away as a prize today to one of you viewers. Now, the one thing we have not put on our backpack is straps. Every backpack needs straps. I've got 2 cardstock strips that measure 7 inches by 1/4 inch. I'm just going to pull them through my finger and thumb like that to give some curl to them. If you do that, it kind of breaks up some of the fibers and makes a nice curl. Then on the one end of each, I'm just going to fold over a tiny little flap. Maybe like 1/4 inch. Doesn't have to be exact, but about that, you know. Put a glue dot on each of those little flaps on the outside part. And you're going to be working at the bottom of the back of your backpack. Estimate the center, and then halfway between the right edge and the center, glue down that end of the strap. You're going to do the same thing on the other side, and you're going to place this one approximately halfway between the midpoint of the backpack and the left edge. So I just put my finger there and approximate. You're not going to get it wrong. You're going to be close no matter what. And now I want to put a glue dot on each of these other ends. And we're putting the glue dot on the top side, just like we did for those flaps. Okay. And then I'm going to stick these, kind of hold them side by side, like that. And then stick them to the backpack about at the middle of the top edge. See that? Again, it doesn't have to be exactly centered. You can move it if you want to a little bit. And now I have my 2 backpack straps. Now, if you're super smart, smarter than me, and very clever like Tracy, you can put the bottom edge of those straps, tuck them under when you're actually closing up the backpack, and those ends will, can you see that? They're tucked under this panel, which actually gives it a little bit neater look, I think, a little bit of a cleaner look, but either way is okay. Amy, you'll have to go back to the beginning of the video. We used 2 pieces of cardstock. One measures 8 inches by 11 to actually make the backpack, and the other piece measures 8 inches by 4 inch to make the pocket on the front. So, and I will take a picture when I add the magnets so you can see just how those are on there. But really, a really cute, fun project. I can't wait to give one of these to Avery for a graduation gift, and enclose some fun gift cards that she can use in her first year of college come fall. She's very excited. And you know, things are quite different for graduating seniors. It's, you know, she's not going to get the big graduation ceremony like her sister had 3 years ago, but we still will celebrate her. They have a limit. First it was, I think, 2 tickets, then it was 3, and now they get 5. So her immediate family will take 3 and the grandparents will take the other 2. So I'm excited for her, but we will find another way to celebrate her on graduation day. Anyway, so other things that this could be, maybe somebody who's outdoorsy. And you can make it in some outdoorsy natural colors. or camouflage or whatever, and give it as a birthday gift. Make a fancy one with flowers for Mother's Day. And you could even turn this into a purse. Instead of having backpack straps, make one strap, use a ribbon that goes this way and it's like a purse. What else did I mention earlier? Father's Day, of course, graduates, teacher appreciation. You can put some little trinkets in there, maybe some office supplies, paper clips, Post-it notes, even a back to school backpack would be cute. Enclose a gift card for teacher appreciation, maybe some sweets. There's all kinds of things that we can think of, different purposes and different things to enclose in here. So thank you very much for joining me today. Again, the inspiration for this backpack came from Tracy Dalling, and she learned this from Sam Donaldson. And then I followed suit because it was too cute not to do this project. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Tomorrow I get to spend with Emily and her dad. I'll be in Cincinnati for the day. Emily's physical therapy class is finally getting to have their pinning ceremony. It will be streamed. Only the students and the staff can go, but we will meet at her apartment and watch the streamed version of her getting pinned for her Doctor of Physical Therapy. And she just has, I think she finishes Tuesday. That'll be the end of her second year. And then she has 1 year of clinicals. One of the 3, she will be in Columbus, so I'm excited about that. And then she'll be ready to take on a physical therapy job in a year or so. So really proud of her. And this ceremony was supposed to take place last year, but of course was canceled due to the pandemic, and then it's been rescheduled a few times. So we're very excited that we get to share this with Emily and celebrate this with her tomorrow. And then Sunday, I'll probably be planting flowers. Hopefully, I'm watching the weather, and I think I'll finally be able to plant my flowers on Sunday and probably be doing a little bit of my Stampin' piecework as well. On today's blog post at www.stampinpiece.com, I have a free Friday download. So check out that card. And if you are interested in making one, you can download the free project sheet. Have a great weekend. Thanks for spending part of your Friday with me. Bye-bye.